Welcome everyone to today's presentation. Thank you all so much for coming. My name is Corey, and today I'm going to give you an update on our progress with the OakMap roadmap application. So join me here as we dive into what's going on in the wonderful world of making roadmaps. First, though, a question. Do any of you like to learn? This is a question for the audience, please. You like learning,
Yes.
right? All right. I like to say that one of the best ways I find to learn is to look at charts, look at maps, look at roads if I'm trying to figure out where I'm going, and what not better than a roadmap application. So that, of course, is what set us out on this quest to build the best roadmap application you can find. Of course, there was a problem we were thinking about. Why do we build this? Why do we need to make a roadmap application? In short, there's a lot of options. There's tons of things that can make things that look kind of like roadmaps or trees or wireframes or flowcharts, but from looking around, it was pretty clear to us that there's still kind of a niche for making something that's fun and friendly and easy to use, not overcomplicated, not offering you 50 million chart options, not trying to say it should be a flowchart or it should be something for a wireframe, but just getting straight to the point. You want to make a roadmap. Let's make that fun. So, after a little bit of research, we concluded that there's many options, but not enough specific for just making roadmaps. Oftentimes the ones that do let you make roadmaps have a lot of complexity. And then, of course, there's the social aspect. If you make a roadmap and you want to share it with people, you obviously want a place to be able to do that. And you want to have a way to be able to do that. We're here for learning, right? We want to learn. So you need to show people what you've made to learn. In addition to that, this kind of drove us to conclude that there's more or less three major goals that we want to make here. First of all, we want to make it easy to make a roadmap on any subject. So it doesn't have to be just like us here doing development, but it can be learning to skateboard, learning to cook, pretty much anything you want to learn. In addition, we realized that, again, we need a place where people can access roadmaps and share them and find other roadmaps that they maybe wouldn't even know they'd want to learn about. And then, of course, we kind of think longer term, what are some ways maybe we can make this even more unique or special? And this kind of drove us into this idea of building an API or something that we could integrate into other learning platforms, because not only are there a lot of things that let you make maps, but there's a lot of places where you can learn. So why not make a thing that lets you make maps where you want to learn? So that's kind of our vision. Inspiration, of course, we had from many places, but one in particular I think stood out to us, and that was a website called roadmap.sh. Here they have specific usually to development, some pre-made roadmaps that you can access and learn about different content. We found that things were pretty well structured. You can see a screenshot there. And yeah, it was kind of nice for just getting a sense of how to develop something or learn a topic like JavaScript or learning a topic about front-end development or something like that. The problem here is that you can't make your own roadmap. So if I want to learn something that's brand new or something that's not super common, they're not going to be much help for me. Maybe the quality is pretty high, but why not make something that anyone could build a roadmap with? And again, make it just as easy and clean looking as something like this. So that basically led us to conclude, let's build our own application, which we call OakMap. So I'm going to give you a little demo here of our latest progress with our wonderful product. And I'm going to start off here by just running our application. And we'll give you a little taste of what we have here in the world of OakMap. And fingers crossed that I have something to show you. All right. Woo! Love it. Love the energy here today. So, welcome to OakMap. As you can see, we've got on here our dashboard. This is where you'd be able to access trees that you've made or trees made in the community. Of course, right now this is a demo, so our community is starting with me at this moment. And well, my interests vary here, but you can see anything from DJing to drinking to skateboarding is pretty important. So to show you just an example here of what you could do, let's go ahead and, I don't know, hop into our skateboarding roadmap. So if I click on an existing roadmap here, you'll see that I load the what we call the tree canvas, or the place where you can edit a roadmap. So the basic idea is pretty simple. You have 3 node options here on the left, a branch, and then 2 leaves. So we have kind of left side and right side just for organizational purposes. And of course, a special node here. These are what we call nodes that lets you kind of start off the project. So I've already put in a few things here, of course, just showing again what you could do. So you can click and drag to move these different nodes around. We refer to these as trees, hence the name OakMap. And the basic idea is that you have like a main topic and then maybe some subtopics, and you just build from there. So whatever you want to do, you can create some nodes and make some additional stuff. So for example, if I decide, well, we'll skip helmet because who needs one of those? And we'll jump into something fun, like maybe I want to learn how to do some sort of tricks. So we could say, okay, want to learn some tricks? Yeah, exactly. I created a node by dragging and dropping. I can then drag the edge here to connect them. And of course, the next step is then maybe make some leaves. So drag and drop to put a leaf in. We can connect that as well. And of course, double click to add a name. So we could say kickflip. Maybe I want to also do a 360 spin or like an ollie or something. Whatever, right? Whatever floats your boat. I'm just teaching you how to skateboard after drinking and DJing. So let's say now I want to add some additional information, right? So I don't just want to have just, this tiny little notes here, but I want to put some additional info. I can click this markdown icon over here, and I'd be able to put some text. So if I wanted to say, well, for example, I could even put a little bit of styling. You'll see there's some styling options here. Maybe the headline here is, I don't know, something like types of spins, and you could say start with a 180 spin because I don't want to break my back on the first time doing a 360. We'll work our way up, and then we'll say do your 360 spin, right? So when you're all done with that, you can click off, and of course now you've got the ability to see what you wrote there. Now, this whole time you've probably been wondering, okay, you're creating this roadmap, but how does someone actually see it? Well, if I wanted to share it with someone, we have some handy options over here. For example, I can switch to the view mode and I could see what someone else would be able to see. So if I click on it, you see we've got some styling implemented when I put the header button. And we've also even got the option to go back to edit mode and continue editing our tree. If I wanted to share it with someone, I can click to copy the link, which is also available in the web address, and I could share them this roadmap to look at as a viewer. And we've also got an info button, so if I want to describe something like learning to skateboard, that's an option for you as well. Of course, at the end of the day, this isn't the only roadmap I want to create, so at some point I probably want to go back to my dashboard, and we can see we've still got skateboarding and our list of trees. So you can see I click it again, and you can see that we've still got kickflip, 360 spin, and the tricks that I added. So yeah, that's basically a demo of what we've got going on in OakMap land, and very excited to show it to you. And at this point, I think we should jump in a little bit to the technical side of things and show you how we made this beast. So on that note, I will hand off to my colleague here, Manel.
Thank you very much, Cory.
I will kill this server.
It's a pleasure always be with you. And be introduced with you. It's by you. It's kind of amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, then I'm going to show you all very quickly because there is a lot of stuff, and maybe we don't need to go inside of everything. But here you have a general view of the schema of our website. Okay, the front end, back end. Okay, and a little bit of authentication. We can start for the front end. Here you can see the structure of the front end that we have and the different technologies we have been using: React, TypeScript, Tailwind for styling, Axios for routing, Express.js, and here down left you can see the React flow. It's one of the technologies that we have used deeply, and my colleagues later you want to explain you something about it. And you can see here. Also in the development environment we have created, we have been working with Turo repo and also a JSON server for testing and everything. Okay. In the part of the front, here on the top, you can see also the authorization or the authentication process. And But that one I'm going to show you a little bit later because it's a little bit more complicated than appears here, okay? Here you can see the backend, basic backend with the server, router, controllers, models. And here we have been using Node.js, Course, TypeScript again, Express.js. And for the database, we have been using Mongo, okay? And in the development environment, we still have been using Turbo Repo and Docker for the database, okay? And for the last, here you can see the process. I'm not going to go inside because it's quite deep, but here Rita has been working a lot on it and she knows a lot of the stuff. If you have some questions, maybe later you can ask them out of the conference because I you know that's quite tough. You know, maybe with a coffee it's going to be easier later. And that's it for my part. Then that has been very quick. I know. But if you have questions later, you can ask me. And now I leave you with Cory and insights again.
Thank you, Manel. You're very kind, very thoughtful. Appreciate that. So this was taken early on before, misery set in. We were young, we were naive. Manel made a peace sign that I've never seen him make again. So insights and challenges. So I'll be happy to also hand off in a moment to Josh to expand a bit on this as well. But for a brief overview of some of the things I think we considered, some of our major insights. First, one of our main tools, of course, to build this application was using React Flow. So this was like a library that lets you have all sorts of these built-in methods and tools to be able to make these floating nodes and have this canvas. And we have a lot of ways we further customized it. But at the end of the day, we rely pretty heavily on it for some of the main features that we're showing with the actual canvas and editing nodes. And of course, none of us had like a deep familiarity with it before this. So I think something that stood out to me in this process was just realizing that assumptions you make about certain things being trivial may not end up being trivial. And then at the same time, maybe some things you think are going to be tricky end up being easy. So it can be really hard if you're not super familiar with some tool that you want to use to assess like what will go right and what will go wrong. A perfect example was we, at some point, were thinking about adding additional inputs and outputs on some of the nodes. And it turns out that when you have more than two, the complexity for how you can explain what's flowing to what is a factor. And so there's quite a bit more logic that you may need to implement to make that go smoothly. So combining that with needing to store our data on a server, we kind of decided to lower that priority for now. Although originally I think we estimated that would be a quick fix. So that's just an example of, again, knowing your tools and being careful not to assume how easy or difficult something might be if you haven't looked into it. Another thing was using Next.js. So for me personally, the first time I've used it, I definitely didn't fully understand some of the capabilities it was offering. I think to sum up, the main thing that we kind of skipped out on early on was actually using its ability to route us to pages and help us kind of keep it so that, for example, you can go to look at a specific tree and get the actual tree ID and get that put as part of your web address. Next.js basically made it so that we could do that pretty easily. So we had to kind of re-implement some of our code to work better with actual Next.js capabilities. We kind of were doing things in weird manual ways that were essentially not using Next.js. So that was a big thing, I think, for us, is just realizing, hey, we should probably understand Next.js better so we can take advantage of it. Another thing, of course, I think anyone who's a developer has been able to relate to challenges with merging and dealing with GitHub and just everything that comes with working as a team with a lot of changes. We had definitely one or two cases of strange rebasing disasters with like the equivalent of what looked like a race going on between our commits taking off from where we started and having no clue how we got like 40 commits away from main. So there was some fun times and some fun conversations with Errol about things like that. Um, and so that kind of sums up that for you. And of course, refactoring, there's always stuff to refactor. I think me personally, that's something I'm continuing to work on, but of course, trying to get our features implemented, a big priority was just get them in and we can refactor later. Josh in particular had a lot of good insight into how we could break up some parts of our components. And actually, Josh, if you're on the call and can hear me now, we'd love to have you give us a little further information about maybe some insights into refactoring, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah. I don't think I can share my screen, but I guess I can still talk about it. So I'll briefly talk to refactoring. So basically, what it means is that if you're having to duplicate many amounts of code, you should somehow extract that code into general things or components and to use them throughout your web page so that when you want to change something, you only need to change it in one place. And so it's all about thinking about in advance the adaptability of your app and how easily can you mutate or change that input or output. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'll add for our specific case, we definitely had a lot of places where there was like opportunities to take some code and reuse it somewhere else. And one insight that Josh had was, let's go through some of the files where we see some very similar cases, particularly things where we could make like an interface and have the ability to kind of like create some data that we know we'll reuse in all these different spots and just make it once and then share it where we need it. So we had some additional files that were kind of related to the files that we knew we'd use those interfaces in. So similar naming structure, and then we would just build the interfaces and be able to, access those wherever we needed that data. So that was like a huge help in not having enormous amounts of repetitive data structures and things like that. So yeah, I think those are our key insights that we wanted to mention. And on that note, I think we're ready for Q&A. And it won't be just me up here, right?
I know, Ruben, you have one. Have one for sure. But these are the best ones.
Hello. Yeah. I figured out that you are kind of using Next.js as a proxy to get to your real server services. So how much of the Next.js API possibilities are you using? And by segregating that general server to another entity, what are the insights? What are the good things that you think about it? And what is the challenges it brings to the table?
I think it just makes sense that you, like the browser, communicate through Next.js API to the provider, Google in our case, and then you send, it's like now it's the source of truth, I think, like this Next.js, right? So whenever I receive a request from there on my 8080, it's like I know that I can trust it. So I can believe that this is the real user that logged in. So I don't know if it answers the questions. Right?
Too strong.
Yeah, that was on purpose.
Question about deployment. Do you have in mind to deploy the application? First question.
Well, we certainly attempted to last night.
I'm asking this because at some point we had the conversation of changing from Postgres to Mongo because Mongo it's free, and now the options of deployment free for students is really scarce. You don't have that many options. For example, now Heroku, I think it is for you have to pay for it. So I didn't see any insight about this. I think it could be very interesting because the stack you choose from the very beginning is going to define your options after at the end of for deployment. So you have any insight of this this problem or?
Not for the question.
So that was one of the reasons we chose MongoDB. To use MongoDB because like it will be free if you deploy it. Apart from the thing that it's actually better for us to use MongoDB, even though it's not relational, we had to make it relational. So yeah, and actually yesterday at night we tried to deploy it. So we didn't have much information about it, but I tried to do the same thing that we did with you, and it's like even though it was successful, the server part was not deployed. We tried to deploy the server and we didn't succeed. So yeah, but we are planning to do it like with using Vercel. I don't think there would be any problem.
Yes, sir? Okay, yeah. Very good job. Like amazing. It's like I don't know how you feel the others feel about what they presented, but it's like that's an app. That's an app. It's like good job, very good job. It's like you like the functionality is working, the presentation was nice, the introduction was great, the demo was great. You did it live, not on a video, which come on, if you do a video doesn't matter, but still, it's like it's brave to do that. You had no major problems there, so very good in there. By the way, I can explain like the first applause that happened, the first very applause that happened, that's a relief applause. Okay, they started it, that zone in there, like, okay, it's working. And it's like, everybody applauding in there. So yeah, I've seen it in many companies actually. Like, yeah, good, it's working. Yeah, it's like, well, careful with that applauses. So yeah, you were mentioning at some point, Corey, that's all about OakMap land. Is that Oakland? Okay, that's it. That's my joke for the day. Then, for the it's fine. It's fine. Cool. So yeah, I really enjoyed the part on the insights as well. Well, that's good that at least you responded the question, Rita, because I missed you a little bit. I was missing Josh and Rita in the presentation, but I like how Josh like getting into the insights and how you let him pass. So all the team was represented here, and that's good. Okay, but again, Rita, like just like show. I think that your presentation skills are great, and it's like they can get like a lot of bit of this humor, yeah, on that. Which actually on the demo, I saw like a lot of storytelling and a little bit of jokes in there, which is sometimes one of the comments that I have to make. Yeah, it's like, what do you mean test? Yeah, you cannot make a demo with test. Yeah, Like you have an opportunity in there to engage with the audience, and you did it perfectly. Yeah, preparing these, learning how to make that 90s skateboarding party with DJs and drinks and everything. So that's good. Just adding for the, well, now that I was talking about the insights, at first I was a little bit scared when you just started talking. I was a little bit scared because it's like, oh, I cannot share my screen, so I'm going to talk about refactor. And it's like, wait, where is this going? So I was already typing, and it's like, come on, refactor with visual reinforcement, okay? Like it has to happen. But surprisingly, and congratulations for that, Josh, you kept it generic. Yeah, on refactor, and you put like a couple of insights there that is like just like simple sentences that anybody can understand, and there's no like visual reinforcement needed for that. So I was scared at the beginning, but it was not backed because it went very well. So congratulations for that too. And just adding on a little bit another insight that you had, that is like learning how to actually using the tools that you're using. For that, I have an insight. I just thought about it, okay, on how when I'm using any kind of tool, or when I'm using a stack, and then I'm stuck. Like, no, okay, no, that's the last one. And then I'm stuck with something, and then I want to research a little bit. When you were saying this, I realized that what I do is kind of a down the rabbit hole search. Okay, so first of all, I go to the most superficial part. Okay, in a stack, that means in your stack, that means how can I do X with Next.js? Okay, and then I find this in there. If I don't see, here it requires a little bit of skill that you can train just to see when responses are bullshit or when are genuine. Yeah, how do I do routing or in Next.js? Boom, first, documentation, that's it, I have it. Yeah, how do I do, I don't know, how do I handle HTTP requests? Then you research with Next.js. You handle in there a little bit, and then you're going to realize that maybe it's not part of that layer, it's part of another layer. Okay, so if you don't find something that is like genuinely from that side, then you go down the rabbit hole. How do I do this in Express? How do I do this in Node.js? How do I do that in JavaScript? See, I'm going low level. Yeah, but going this way, I like discarded anything that was implemented the more high level, which is going to be usually the most useful. Okay, so that's a suggestion for everybody. Okay, search that way. Okay, search down the rabbit hole. And that's it. In general, I'm super excited. I'm very happy. It's like, well, it's a pity that this is not. Well, I suppose, yeah, it's recording me. I'm very happy. Like I'm smiling. I'm good. Like, yeah, that was an impressive presentation. That was an impressive app, and now like I need it more than ever. Keep working on that. Publish that. And well, I know that a lot of you want me to use this for all dev, yeah, and to put like some of the path in there. That's some of the ideas that we have. Hence the product idea. So now what we have to do is publish it and make sure that we can use it, yeah. And I'm sure that your classmates are going to use it. I'm sure that people that are like third parties that they don't they discover this thing, they would like to use it. So keep working on it. I think that that's like a heck of a portfolio. So let's work on deployment and let's keep working on that. Okay? Congratulations.
Welcome to MrTicket. Product 2. Team 2, let's go. Okay. So MrTicket experience is made possible, and we have created a totally crowdsourced ticket selling platform, and we believe that events like concerts, comedy shows, conventions, connect us in really important ways. And there's nothing better than the surprise of a live in-person experience. So we're starting off with asking everyone the question, just bring it up to your mind. What is the most surprising event that you've ever been to? And just like close your eyes and try to envision it. Put yourself in there for a second. Think about also how was it even possible that you got there? All right, back to the room, because this is also an amazing, important experience that, how did you get here? I don't know. So the agenda for today is we're going to introduce you to who we are, introduce you to MrTicket, how we and MrTicket are different, do a demo, talk to you about some technical details, our insights, and hopefully have plenty of time for questions and answers from everyone, not just us, not just you. Let's just do this. Okay. I would like to introduce the development team, starting with me. Events are really important to me because I met my husband right after a local rock concert in Baltimore City. Martina, I don't know if you have any way of communicating with everyone without a microphone. Oh no. Got it? Yeah, you can use that.
What do you want me to say?
Something, introduce yourself with like why events are important to you or what weird event you've been to or something.
Okay. Do you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Because I think that everybody should go to see football matches to Camp Nou.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was able to go once to a Stones concert.
Oh, that's Ruben, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah, yes, I know. And here in Barcelona, I went to a very niche, weird theater play that Shannon took me. And it was very interesting, even though I don't speak Catalan, and the play was 100% in Catalan, but it was still very interesting. So yeah, I think that it is a good idea. Those experience die if the owner cannot make it to the event.
Hello. Yeah, like Ruben was saying, I think some of the best experiences are the ones that you don't necessarily expect. So for me, something like Sensation, which is like a techno festival, like very out of what I normally would go to, is something where I think, I went on it on a leash and just enjoyed the heck out of it. So experiences like that is why I think MrTicket is a really good idea.
Cool. Yeah, I thought it would be fun for us to introduce ourselves, not just as like back end, front end code enthusiasts or JavaScript junkies or something, but a little bit like why the product is important to us. Another reason why the product is important to us is MrTicket himself. So this is a real person that some of us actually know. I'm staying with him in Barcelona. His name is Pera. He is a event creator himself, and so the unusual event that I took Ruben to was his. He's also a patron of the arts. He goes to a lot of shows and experiences, and he's very underserved. He gets a lot of his and shares his tickets via WhatsApp. So like he needs something. We need to bring him something so that he can be able to, share all this weird, cool stuff that he has access to. So how MrTicket is different is we're really putting our emphasis on accessibility. Accessibility in terms of cognitive, motor, visual, and inclusion. So cognitively, it's really important that we have a minimalist design, so it's not confusing at all to interact with. The buttons are large and easy to press. If you have tremors or are working with something you don't have a lot of experience with, we have a very high visual contrast for those that are visually impaired but still can see. And we've tried to name everything so that people interacting with the site who are blind should be able to still find great experiences. And we are inclusive first and foremost because everything on MrTicket is crowdsourced. Now it is time for the demo, and Christian, who I failed to actually introduce, is going to come here and hook that up. So let's see if, yeah, this is,
It's in the Slack.
yeah, it's in the Slack. External display is disconnected. Uh-oh, our external display is disconnected. You seeing it? Okay, cool. All right, so then we got MrTicket. And here are the demos. Ah. If we share this screen,
That should be all of the screen, huh?
yeah?
How about now? You're seeing other than presentation? Yeah? Okay, cool. Hey guys, so first things first, we're just gonna go over here how to list a ticket, and then after this we're gonna have a brief demonstration of how to buy a ticket. But I'm in the unfortunate situation that I bought a very expensive ticket to Beyonce, and I won't be able to make it. And so I am gonna go ahead and list that so that hopefully somebody else can get a good experience listening to the Queen. So if we go ahead and list the ticket, and we can see that the venue is actually already available. She's playing in Forum, which is very fortunate. So we don't have to create it, and we're gonna confirm that. And there is also already somebody that has listed the specific event. So it's the same event, so that's nice. And what's the title? The title is gonna be, I want to say, and for the low amount of, what should we set it at, $6,000, you can get to experience Beyonce. And we need to also upload our ticket here. So there we go. It's as easy as that. So now we have uploaded our ticket, and hopefully somebody is going to buy it so that we sell off our experience to somebody else, and we also don't just have a loss of $6,000. So that was it for the listing ticket part. Hey guys, it's now 2 minutes later, and I'm a completely different person in a very different situation. And I am now in the lucky situation that I have plenty of money, and I want to figure out what can I do later this year. So I obviously go to MrTicket, and I have a look at like what are the events that are happening in the future. And if I go here and I look for my favorite artist, the Queen Bee, I see that I'm in the lucky situation that somebody already listed a ticket. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can buy that. And we have a little bit more detail here just to make sure that this is in the very lucky situation that this is actually happening in Forum. And so it's for a reasonable price. I think this is reasonable to see the Queen. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy that. And I'm gonna enter a few details. And my very super secret card number. And what is this? And I'm gonna decline to have it be remembered. And after having verified my card details, I can now actually see my ticket and that it's for Beyonce. So I'm happy with that. And
one experience is now saved, and I'll be able to go and enjoy myself later in the year. That's it. That's the motion. We go back here. And now we're getting to the technical part, so Ruben is going to be yours.
Okay. So let me move this to the left. Okay. So this is not a regular website. It's an e-commerce model. It's a very specific, very there has been a lot of people thinking in e-commerce since websites, and what is more important in e-commerce are conversions. So in other type of application, you may have users, stuff like that. Here you have customers, so you don't care about how many people you have, you care about how many conversions you get. So that's one specificity of the e-commerce on the shelf. So we have our stack, we are using Next.js for doing the front end, and at the same time we are not proxying another server, but we are using the API capabilities of Next.js to keep it in home. And as an ORM, object relational model, we are using Prisma because it makes life pretty easy, and it actually gives you the possibility if you need to change your database later, for example, say PostgreSQL, and you realize that right now you prefer having a MongoDB for some reason. So you can actually do that, and you don't need to crash your whole stack because Prisma has support for different types of databases. So now that we had our own server, so to speak, we have some other services that we needed to outsource. One of those is like file storage system. For that, we are using AWS S3 bucket, like to save the files and have the persistent and being able to download later. And for database, we were trying to use AWS RDS system, but we have some type of conflict with another very important part of our stack, so we drop it in order to Subabase. Subabase is another backend as a service product that there is an internet, is open source, so it is free, and free tier, of course, you can go pay if you want, and it's very easy to use and implement. For payments, this is another difference that you don't have necessarily in every website. We made a Stripe integration. That was a no-brainer. A member of the team had experience with Stripe, and actually Stripe onto himself is a go-to for developers handling payments. And this takes us to the integration. Easy, you should take it with a grain of salt, because we had to change our database setting just to be able to deploy to Vercel, because there is for some reason, Vercel deployments need some kind of different authorization to be able to connect to the AWS RDS system. So this may look like this now, but I would say that any of these stacks is like one of many. There were several options to choose from, and we went for this one. The insight we have client focus, of course. That's the difference into an e-commerce. You don't think too much as users, spending their time, stuff like that. You want to make it quick, make it easy, make it accessible. People have like a very short attention span, and they get very distracted with advertising, stuff like that. And so if you are not focused on your customer, our website is going to steal it from you, because they have just a simply easier and more accessible experience. Organization is key, and I would say more than organization, conventions. So one of the biggest insights that we had as a team is make sure you have your conventions clear and work onto them. You can always refactor later. That's what in the previous presentation they were talking about, the importance of refactoring. So you can always refactor later, but it will make life easier for the whole team if you all agreed in that convention and actually apply it. and prioritize testing, because front-end and very deep UIs, well, for a disclaimer, a lot of people think that backend is a harder development than front-end, but that's just depend of the use case, because if you have a very nested, very complex UI, it's going to be a very tricky implementation to do. So in the backend as well, you don't want to realize later that you are having troubles because you are sending a request and you are getting an unexpected response, or even a response from your database error is leaking to your front end. So that is like a security risk onto itself. So you should prioritize testing, and every time before you do a pull request onto himself, something like that, you make sure that you just not append a new feature, but you actually integrate it with the rest, and that unit of functionality that you are adding to the code base is actually can live onto itself. Teamwork, I have to say that in the inside has very positive. You know, the team has been very supportive all the time. We were like very happy to explain anything to others. So you didn't need to try to be pending in the back of your head of how is this implementation being made. You can just go and ask to the one who made it. They will be very happy, like, to open the code and explain to you what you need to know or what you don't need to know. Communication is also very important. You need to set your rules from the beginning, so you don't get lost later. Okay, and inclusive. You know, if you have like on our experience, you have like a member that doesn't feel too comfortable, for example, working on backend, well, there will be another team member that is more comfortable in backend. They should do like pair. You know, you should try to demystify those edges for your teammates, because you are teammates. This is a team. This shared responsibility. You know, the pull request is not the responsibility of the one who implemented the code. It's the whole team. Everybody should review and everybody should ask questions. So being inclusive, being communicative, being supportive, and do not fear exposure inside your own team. You need to be as exposed as possible. Okay, I think that's it. Any question?
Hello. So just to clarify, was the web page deployed in the end?
Yes, the website is deployed, and first of all, what do you mean with the website? Do you mean that the web application? Yes, it is deployed.
Yeah.
We don't have everything centered in just one unit, so when you talk about deploying, we are a system. We have different services. We are not calling microservices because they are not microservices onto itself. They are big, but we have different systems. So we are completely deployed right now, but what is stopping us from actually, instead of part of this presentation, just give you a cell phone, say, hey, try it, is like we have our Stripe set up in USA and our deployment of the web app in Europe. So you would have like latency and it will be very uncomfortable to use later. So that's kind of an example of something that used to look very trivial, how to change the region of your Stripe sandbox. Sounds trivial, right? Because you think, well, in other tools, you have like a Dropbox and you click it and you have US East and I don't know, Europe, Paris, and Berlin or New York or whatever. But in Stripe, it's not that straightforward. So that's why we took the decision not to use the deployed version, but we actually have it and works everything except the Stripe integration.
So, well, but I'm going to go with the original one. What's your intake about having the backend fully implemented with Next.js? Like, future plans is to separate that, or your plans are to keep like going with that?
Okay, that would be our next steps. That specific one, I would say that my personal opinion, because we didn't have that discussion about this in the team first, But my personal opinion is that, I mean, once the application kind of scales a little bit, and our application has the risk of scaling a lot because we are crowdsourcer, and one venue can have infinite events, and every event can have infinite tickets. So we actually may try to think about our best case scenario, just in case we hit our best case scenario, we are able to handle it. I'm a huge fan of outsourcing my logic, my business logic to a dedicated server, because you have an extra layer of security in your next API endpoints. But right now we have our business logic inside the Next.js server. So my personal approach, it would be yes, but it depends on the team decision.
Yes, separating.
Yes.
Yes. No, any other question? No?
Hola. Sí. I understood that AWS is working. How it was the implementation of that? It was nice, funny.
It was painful. Yeah, so the problem with AWS is just, I feel like we are just lacking experience. It is true they don't have the most friendly documentation and stuff, and you see a lot of sources to learn that they are outdated. So it's kind of tricky to dig your ground into AWS. I would say that the most difficult part is that AWS is a tool built for real stuff, like really deep stuff that really needs to care about scaling, security layers, and services not being able to talk to any other service, but just to a specific one, because that's the part of the chain that of the workflow they are doing. So you have to take a lot of decisions that most of the times you don't care about, or you don't know what the heck it is. And then you have to go to the IAM, identity access management. Okay, and that could be a quite tricky principle onto himself. The fact of accounts can be person, but at the same time they can be services, and at the same time they can be all the persons can have just one account, one set of credentials. So yeah, I think it's a quite entangled service. It's very useful. I mean, a lot of the internet is built around that, but it is punishing. You know, it is punishing because they are not noob friendly, so to speaking.
Ball? Someone wants a ball?
I'm thinking about now is like maybe it would be cool if I could post like a request saying I'm looking for a ticket, and then if you have this ticket, like you can reply and like sell me your ticket, because probably you are lazy and don't want to create, this.
That could happen, but I would say that even if you put that inside the brand, it should be like a separate application. Maybe you even serve it inside the same URL, inside the same domain. But I would say that for that, to do it properly at least, you will need like a dedicated stuff to that. Because right now we don't have real-time like channels that will support that kind of chat or pushing notification system, something like that. That would be like a new implementation.
Not actually for chat, but like I can now post like a ticket to sell. Yeah, what I want is like to post a ticket request.
Okay. So you make a post like searching for a ticket.
Yes.
I mean, yes, it's not far. I think that our current workflow, without minimal changes to the data schema, that no breaking changes, by the way. So that's what I said. There will be minimal. Yeah, we will be able to implement that.
Thank you.
Ready? Thank you.
So that's it. Say that. Congratulations too. That was great. And again, it's like I'm amazed. I'm very happy, and my happiness continues as I'm. We'll stop sharing. Okay. my happiness continues as we are presenting two applications that I can tell you they are like above average any of these kind of presentations about group projects or anything are, and you can trust me. Okay, so congratulations for that, because they are apps that can be used. They're going to be more difficult to put into market or or easier to put into market. I'm talking because of payments and all this kind of stuff. That's complicated, but it's deployed, it's there, and they even could like use it. So congratulations for that. That's an amazing work. I know how difficult it was, but you got it. So congratulations, first of all. Okay, so during the feedback for the presentation, first of all, I loved Pera's use case. Like that was the one. Like engaging and all of you presenting, that was fine. But when presenting MrTicket as a person and something like that, it's a little bit out of our scope from engineers. But I don't care. As engineers, we should communicate well as well. So, and that was a little bit of a product. So that was absolutely a great choice. Like presenting us like the use case and hey, this is Pera, and Pera is like having this situation, no, and we can help Pera. So that's perfect. Yeah, I already said sorry for the audio. So the presentation, the first part, super good. Then I think, well, before we go to Christian, there was like a question. I think it was you, Ruben. It's like, who's next? And all the group saying, you are. He's like, okay. Okay. Yeah, not very professional. I'm going back to you now. Funny though, funny. So, well, talking about funny, the presentation was like, I'm sorry, like remote, you couldn't hear that because the presentation was amazing. And I don't know if you were like funny or delusional, like you were already like, you were as tired that you were like talking nonsense, but it was indeed very funny at the same time that you were showing that. For that, I'm sorry that couldn't show full screen, good audio and everything because good job on that. I think that, yeah, that's the thing. No, you like what they did, but to the next level, you can get that part to engage a little bit the people. We can the audience. We can see what's happening on the screen, and then we're seeing a functional application. But why not like putting some extra stuff, no? And yeah, I mean, Beyonce, like that's a no-brainer, no? Everybody's going to be engaged with that. So very good presentation, and congratulations for that. And then Ruben, coming back to you, the tech stack. The only downside that I have to say is that it's better as a system diagram. More than like at first when I'm seeing that diagram, I'm saying, okay, we're going to see a story about time, yeah? So it's a timeline, or it's a process, or it's something that has levels. Yeah, of I don't know, a roadmap or anything like that. Not OakMap, but a roadmap of implementation or the different technologies over time or over priorities, right? So it's better as a system diagram. Like here I have my thing. No problem. I'm not talking. I'm talking to the one that presenter. I'm not that presented. I'm not talking about like it's a group. Huh? Was it?
Thank you.
Yeah, but the Stripe was done from the first week. So yeah. Or the message is clear, like what's the process of I might be wrong, huh? But I think that what's the message of that slide? Is like the process or the system? So system diagram. Yeah, I use this here, there, this communicates with this one, this communicates with this one, and this communicates with the other one, right? So, because if not, like in there, it's like Stripe is next to database, and the database doesn't talk to Stripe, right? Is the one in the middle that is your Next.js server, no, the one that is orchestrating everything. And again, I'm looking at him because he presented, but I'm talking to all of you, okay? The same happens with the congratulations for the beginning, congratulations for the video, congratulations for this. It's like not personal, that's for everybody, okay? Have enough like thinking what I have to say than thinking who I have to look. So I look only to one person, because if not, to Martina, I'm not talking. No, Martina, I missed you here too. I missed you. So you have like an amazing personality to also to share and to so put you on the spot. But the good things were for you too as a group, okay? And aside from that, great insights, Ruben. Fucking finally, we saw you as the engineer that you are sharing the knowledge and sharing what you have to share. Yeah, that's what I was referring to. The first presentation, that was what I was referring yesterday. That's what I wanted to see from you. So, and that's, sorry for the others, but that's personal. Do more of that. People want more of that. Like, the same amount that you are having about oh, you have to do this with this system or that other, and this is my code, and being the like performance engineer that you are, but then they want more of trying to get things from you, because when we see like an engineer that is performant, what we want to do is absorb, yeah, is absorb from that person. So do that. Yeah, expose yourself. You did absolutely great. And for the rest, and that's for the rest. The insights were really cool. A little bit of, I don't know, drama would be nice, like explaining that case or something like that is good. But the insights were very good. And it was believable because I know that you passed through all of that. So that's it. Congratulations and very good job. Very, very, very good job. All right, so we're done. I want to say, well, I can talk more about global congratulations and everything on the graduation by the end of this week. But anyway, congratulations everybody. That was a heck of a job, and I can tell you already that the group projects of 3 weeks are staying, okay, because these are giving like really good signs, and I'm very happy of what we achieved as a team. That's it. Very, very happy. Seriously, I'm very happy. I'm very tired, but I'm very happy. I'm more happy than tired. So, so that's it. Congratulations, everybody. And now we cannot relax because we are like 1 day delay, and we have to work in a lot of stuff for preparing our portfolios, preparing ourselves for the hiring process, and a lot of work to do. Okay, so now let's go rest for having lunch. Yeah. And then later we're going to talk about LinkedIn. Josh, that's going to be recorded, so for you can see it whenever you wake up. Thank you for staying late. And that's it. See you tomorrow, Josh. For the juniors, let's start database already. Okay, you're improving well. Let's go. And that's it for the seniors. Let's go have lunch. Well, the juniors too. Let's go have lunch, and later the juniors can. You're not allowed to. and then later we can think about next steps. Okay. Okay. Bye bye. See ya. Bye bye. Congratulations, everybody.